Tonight, a Cronkite News special report, breaking the silence. Native Americans have the highest suicide rates in the nation, and young Native Americans face an even greater risk. Here in the Southwest, efforts are underway to overcome the stigma of talking about mental health and to help Native youth build resiliency and connect with their culture. I traveled to White River, Arizona, where those whose lives have been touched by suicide came together to offer prayers for those lost and words of support for those left to carry on. On a cool summer's day in the White Mountain Apache community, a group of people gather to remember loved ones.
We tend to blame ourselves for what happened. We tend to beat ourselves down because we weren't there.
Tonita Harvey is much too familiar with the feeling.
We should have been there. We could have been there.
Her cousin died by suicide a few years ago, but the memory of her passing is still fresh in her mind.
It was very tragic for all of us to get the news early in the morning and wonder and then research and figure out what happened. And you have a lot of questions. You don't know where they're going or what happened. Did they suffer? What were they thinking? All these whys.
Her faith at a crossroads.
It questions your spirituality.
When the tragedy occurred.
In the saddest way. You don't know what the true meaning of life is if somebody does this. Is it good? Is it bad? Is there a God that cares? Why didn't he step in and say something? That's why I'm here, for my cousin. And, I have other friends that have killed themselves too, and it's just sad. It's sad knowing that they're hurting and we can't come up with an answer.
The Life is Precious initiative by the Apache Behavioral Health Services tries to at least come up with support through suicide prevention walks like this one.
You think you're alone, but being out here, I see that there's other people. You remember there's other people, other families that suffered.
Harvey is just one of many families. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S., and according to the CDC, suicide disproportionately affects American Indians and Alaska Natives the most among any other racial or ethnic group in the country. Apache Behavioral Health Services hopes to combat these numbers by helping the community open up
just the awareness that it brings
about how to help each other out.
If people are starting to talk about it a little bit more, maybe people will have the courage enough to say, I need the help. And people will be there to, be able to identify when someone is at risk.
Bless the people that don't know how to ask, because it's a tough battle.
The CDC reports suicide and mental health issues are highly stigmatized in Native American communities, second only to HIV or AIDS.
It's been a taboo for anyone to talk about it here in our community, and so having this open space, maybe someone who's at risk can think, maybe I can talk to them, maybe they'll be able to listen to me.
Just to be there, just to listen, that's all that matters.
And at the end of the day, you might just see a couple of orange peels left behind, but what you might not see are all of the footsteps that the community left behind too. Walking out of today a little stronger.
For us to just come alongside each other and encourage each other and comfort each other and say, we can do this together. That's what we're all here for.
A little more resilient.
And I think that's what we all need to know.
Than they were yesterday.
Is that, there's other people out here that care and love too.
The walk is held every year, and the goal really is to empower the community by allowing them to see that they're not alone, and that together, by starting this conversation, they can make a positive difference. And it's a difference they say really needs to be made, especially among young people.